Gentlemen, welcome back to the shop. After tonight's video, we'll be delving into our more creative side, but first let's stick to the left analytical as we have to build some tools. The video tonight is about how I built this 3-axis mount that we'll be using to build the replica of the Giant Trevally that I previously caught. The first axis is right here on the thread on this pipe, as you can see moving around there. And then for the second and third axis I've included some locking screws just to be able to turn this thing in any way that'll be comfortable when we're actually working on the fish replica. I don't know how it's going to come out. Tonight's going to be the first episode of many. So stick around, make sure you look out for future videos as we'll be going through it step by step. I'm very excited. But enough of that, let's get started.
Okay, we'll start off by measuring out the center point of the base plate and then marking out all the mounting holes. What I'm doing is I'm making 8 mounting holes, a larger diameter and a smaller diameter, just to be able to put small things on the mount as well. Then we mark out the center hole where the extension will be welded on, just to get it nice and centered up before we start welding it. And scribe a line, and just the diameter is just bigger than the piece of pipe lying in the foreground. And now I'm marking the smaller diameter mounting holes, just to make it more user friendly and being able to use it in future on other projects as well. And then we are off to the drill press. Firstly, starting off with a little pilot hole. I can't remember, I think it's a 6mm hole that's being drilled in there. Now we're just ringing and deburring all the holes so it'll make the mounting more easy and not cut up your hands and do funny things. Just the second round of inner diameter holes being drilled now, making sure that all 8 are as close to being centered on the plate as we can get them. And once again, just taking off the edges there. Over here we're welding on a piece of 3/4 inch galvanized water pipe that'll serve as the first rotation, the first axis of the base. First of all, we're just going to tag it on, make sure that it's set square, and then do a full weld. Just always remember to grind off the galvanizing unless you want to get extremely ill, so be careful. Use good ventilation and make sure that you sand grind, whatever you can do, just get rid of the galvanizing where you're going to weld.
Okay, so it's warped like you would not believe, but we'll see if we can make a fix of it. There you can actually see how much it's bent out of shape. Should have not welded so much so at the time, I think. I don't know, I'm not a first class welder, so, but I think for the purpose of what we needed, it might still work. We can maybe panel beat it a bit. So in this section I'm just trying to save what I just made a total ash of, and bending it as straight as I possibly can, working it slowly and manipulating it to a place where I think we will be able to use it. So I think this will have to do for now. Just some kind of clean up, make it a bit neat. Apologies for the state that my workshop's in. We've just moved in here and it's still a bit messy. No, let me be honest, we have just moved in, but my workshop's always a mess, so bear with me. Now, and let's cut this piece to length. So this will form our first axis. See that I have made it just too short. just belong. So what I want to do is I want to put a cap on here so that when you, if it's in position, it doesn't fall out. So I'm just going to shorten it a little bit. Get rid of that one for now. Okay, so what I've got is I've got my 3 bolts that'll set my 3 axes. A little bit. It can go through. It looks like a 8 will do. So we're starting off with a little pilot hole just where we want the bolt to go through. Then we actually drill it to size, to an 8mm size, and after that we'll be welding on a nut, so that'll form the locking nut of the first axis. Always remember to check that your bolts can still move. I've had it so many times where I've actually welded them together and then had to grind off and redo it from start. Second portion, we're just notching the end of the pipe to weld on at a right angle onto the first one. No fancy notching, just gunning it by eye and making sure that we get a decent and proper fit before we weld them together. Then we square everything up and make sure that it sits neat. Maybe a little bit of fine grinding and making sure that we've got everything right on the money before we do the welding. Then once again tack weld, make sure that you square, get everything nicely sorted out before we do the final welds. Okay, so for the base, I've cut some 1" by 1" square tubing, and they're about 6 inches. They form about a 6-inch base. So what we'll be doing is we'll quickly be putting them together, tacking them up, and then doing final welds so we can later on drill holes in the 4 corners and fix it to something heavy in order for it to sort of be standing still and on its place. So I'm just quickly I'm going to use my magnetic squares, making sure that everything's in place, and then we'll be tacking them together. Okay, so the next step would be I got this 3/4 inch by 450 long galvanized water pipe, and I'm going to attempt to weld on here. But first of all, I'm going to cut off the bottom threads. I've got the water pipe already threaded because I'm going to use this thread as you just see just now. But I'm going to cut off these threads, get it squared up, get the galvanizing off. Please do not try and weld galvanizing, even on the inside. Make sure you've got good ventilation. Otherwise you're going to get extremely ill. It's bad, so please take note of that. Okay, so I've cut off the threads, cleaned up the galvanizing as good as I could. Now I'm just going to place this all on here, using my magnets. Once I've got it where I want to sit, I'm going to start giving it a tack, making sure that it's square. Although it doesn't look that bad, I think we might be able to make it. There we go. Just a quick check with the square. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tack it on 2 sides so that I can still bend it straight if needs be once we take off the magnets. Okay, so what I've got here is a off-cut piece of Formica top, which is in essence a melamine top. It came out of a kitchen that I redid over. I did some anti-aging just to finish it off. What we'll do now is we're just gonna route the edges and round them off nicely. Okay, so now that that's done, that's what we're going to use for our base for the mount. I can just get the mount out here. My idea is putting the mount along this side. So then, if you've got something heavy, you can actually have it counterweighting that way. If you've got something light, you can just turn it that way, and you can work off the edge of the table or anywhere in between. So this, in essence, this threaded elbow will become the third axis of the mount. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to measure out the center of this base, mark out the holes, drill them, screw them on, and I think then we're basically there. There we go. Now we can just drill the pilot holes and screw the whole thing in. Okay, so while I was waiting for the finish to dry, put in some extra lights in the workshop, so I hope from now on we'll have a bit better lighting in here. Now, while I've been waiting for the finish to dry on this base, early on we talked about the analytical and creative side of the brain, and it got me thinking. We engineers normally are seen as analytical guys, analytical people, let's call it that. But I think I'm going to disagree with that, as I think we are of the more creative people in the world. Maybe we just use the maths and the science and the mechanics and the chemistry as our medium to express our creative side. I mean, for instance, someone goes out, paints a bridge over a river. Everyone sees him as a painter, as an artist, as a creative guy. But that bridge he's painting was actually designed by an engineer. It was an engineer's brainchild. Think about that. But I digress. By the way, build yourself one of these little shallow dishes. I lined this one with a rubber floor tiler. It keeps all the screws on the table. It doesn't end up everywhere in everyone's feet and all of that. And it also works when you're stripping down stuff, just to keep parts together. So build yourself one of these. I'm not going to make a video out of it. It's plain simple, straightforward. Any scrap wood will do. But let's get back to the point. This mount wasn't my idea. I actually saw it at one of the local taxidermists. We had something similar mounted to the floor, and was able to move whatever the bucky was mounting in any direction as he was working on it. So I thought, with this project, I think we're going to need something like this. I hope it works out fine. I'm not going to mount mine to the floor though. I've put a decent base on it. It's fairly heavy. I don't think our replica will be that heavy. So, and maybe I'm doing stuff in between, so then I can actually store it away somewhere and put it back on the table once we get around to working on it. So I think this is it for this project. I hope you enjoyed it. Please rate, comment, subscribe. Leave me a comment. I always enjoy the comments. And if you've got some brand new, better ideas, I'm all ears. And most importantly, stay safe.